So, STD Season 2 finally came to a close with Such Sweet Sorrow, Part 2. And again, not so sweet. Well, a little more activity than the Such Sweet Sorrow Part 1, which was nothing but a long, drawn-out goodbye and a crying session. But that pretty much defined the whole season, and in an odd way, perhaps it was appropriate considering what this series has done to the name of Star Trek. But, well, the positives are, of course, I always did like the theme song. Probably the worst theme song for a Star Trek series has to be the one for Enterprise, where it was a beer commercial song. It's literally, it's been a long way till I got me a Bud Light, and that's kind of what it sounded like to me. I guess Voyager was Voyager does sound like a movie theme song. I mean, of course, Next Generation did, but that was the motion picture theme. But anyway, yeah. So I like the theme song. The special effects, of course, was top notch. Probably the best at this point in time any sci-fi show has had, except maybe Expanse. But it was pretty spectacular. And this season they had to kind of cut some corners and turn some lights off and amp up the lens flare and all that to kind of hide how bad it was, and reuse other sets and stuff like that. But here they saved enough for the big spectacular Star Wars battle. Yeah, that's what it looked like, a Star Wars battle. And a battle that really Discovery and Enterprise had no way of surviving, and yet they do. And even Discovery escapes. It does escape, yeah. Seem to be pretty much intact despite all the explosions and everything. But whereas the Enterprise takes a severe beating by the end of the battle. But so there you go. Star Wars, they stole from that. Of course, the Quantum Leap Iron Man suit, the new one, comes in. You got that. You've got, and then when the time suit does make its jump, you actually get more of a view of what happens when you're traveling through time in that suit. And it looks like they borrowed from Interstellar, and I guess some of the psychedelics of 2001: A Space Odyssey, but a lot more of Interstellar, where Michael Burnham witnesses the past, very much like Matthew McConaughey did in Interstellar. And speaking of Nolan movies, they also borrowed from scenes from Inception, where a fight aboard Discovery between Leland and Space Hitler and the alien girl with braces. All of a sudden the gravity goes out, so then it's kind of like in that scene in the hall from Inception and all that, getting tossed around. So they got that. They stole from other stuff too, but that's gonna happen. And this show was desperately grasping at anything but Star Trek, unfortunately. Well, so there's a lot of that. Another positive was minimal Tilly. Very little Tilly. Too much Tig Notaro. I think she's only on for, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds here and there, but boy, that's 30 seconds too many for Tig Notaro, because that acting, boy, that's got more gravitational drag than a black hole. So, and then Stamets and Dr. Culber reunite. Stamets has to nearly die for Culber to give the poor guy a break. And I'm at this point, it's like, Stamets, you need to shop around. But anyway, so I guess they're kind of resolved. Well, if there is a season 3, they say there is going to be one, but yeah, whatever. So one of the advantages of Spock on there was that he was the one character that was allowed to put Burnham in her place. He could question her and all this stuff and disagree with her, and she had some grudging respect there. The only character she treated with any respect, she barely respected him at all. But that was it. Everybody else is beneath her. And but of course, in the end, even Spock had to take a knee. Of course, what we were waiting for was Spock initially Spock was going to go along with the rest of the Discovery into the future with everybody to protect the sphere data from Control, the AI that wants to become an AI, even though it's already an AI. It has a desire to feel desire, which, dummy, you already are. Yeah, whatever. But unfortunately, in the battle, Spock's in a shuttlecraft to kind of guide Burnham. I don't know that he really needed to, but he does. And he ends up being kind of stranded out there. He can't follow her through the time vortex. So Enterprise has to beam him back. And so they have to say yet another long goodbye. Obviously not as long as the last episode, which was for the entire episode. But here, pretty damn long when there's battles and explosions and people dying everywhere. And but no, let's talk about our feelings and stuff. So they do. And you're amazing. No, you're amazing. And, well, no, actually, Spock tells Burnham that she's amazing and that everything Spock is or ever will be is because of her. Yeah, I knew that was coming. Pretty much everything. They kind of threw us for a loop with Michael Burnham's mother being the original Red Angel. But, no, for the most part, Michael Burnham was, of course, the Red Angel the whole time, like a goddess. Well, Quantum Leap Iron Man is what she is, flying through space, and I guess she is the real Riri. Yeah, because even the scenes where she's in the suit, it looks like the scenes in Iron Man where they show Robert Downey Jr.'s face, and there's all the little holographic graphics and everything, and so the same thing, and but when she actually she has to go and set up the signals. And it's actually Spock who has to explain that to her. So that's one last thing for Spock before he had to bow before the almighty Burnham. He had to figure out what she needed to do because she was a bit stumped there. And then he explains it. So that she goes, and that's when we get to see all the Interstellar rip-off scenes. And all that is she does a recap of the season. So she goes to all the different scenes throughout season 2. It's kind of like, each episode previously on Star Trek Discovery. And, well, they do it twice this time because then Michael Burnham does it for herself. So she's seeing all the stuff they went through the season. And she's never happier until she comes to the season where she saw the Red Angel and it was herself. And she's so happy to see herself, Wow, that's real love there. So anyway, there you go. Michael Burnham, of course, is the superhero Red Angel. And so eventually she does lead the Discovery through the time vortex, right through the rectum of time and space, and they disappear and they escape and they win, and all that's great. Meanwhile, Space Hitler and Brace's girl defeat Leland, who for a while there I'm like, Leland, just let him win. And they have some misandrous man versus woman scene there where he literally tells women stop talking after they're cutting him down and making fun of him and stuff like that. And it's just really stupid. I would have said these things kind of push you out of a show. No one's engaged, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But eventually, Space Hitler is able to trap Leland in the spore drive chamber. And at first, I thought she was going to jettison him into space, and then they could escape, and that's that. He loses. But instead, she once again they realize magnetism is the kryptonite for Control. So she is able to magnetize, I guess, the floor of the chamber, or what have you. And all the nanobots come pouring out of him, and that's it. That's it for Leland. And of course, he starts screaming and stuff. And of course, she's Space Hitler, so she gets off on that. Yeah, there's your hero, Space Hitler. Another thing to really just, what are you doing with this show? This genocidal cannibal monster. Who's another mother figure for Michael. Oh God, at least Michael had the sense not to like the woman, but whatever. So she saves the day from Control, and for whatever reason, it's nanotechnology. It's data and software that's gained. It has gained intelligence, even though well, nothing on the show is intelligent. But once he goes down, then that's it. The all control is done. The Section 31 ships are dead in space and all that. And then everything's fine. So there you go. Captain Pike was looking for a way to get killed in the battle because he sure as hell doesn't want to end up in that chair with a melted face. But he misses his chance thanks to Admiral Cornholio. Yes. She decides to sacrifice herself because a photon torpedo ends up embedded in the Enterprise, but it didn't go off, but it's going to. And she and Number One try to change that, but they can't. And so Pike is going to try to be the sacrificial lamb there. But no, Admiral Cornholio says, no, it's got to be me, Chris. Okay, dummy. So she does. And finally, that's the end of Admiral Cornholio, who probably the worst admiral in the fleet. But, yeah, so there she goes, evaporated. And Chris and the Enterprise survive, and they go back. And we get a shot of Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco, so you get that. And then there's kind of a debriefing session for everybody left. And then, but still, wait, how do you explain they said they were going to explain the discrepancies between the shows. Well, leave that to Spock. He says, hey, you need to order everybody involved to never speak of Discovery again under penalty of treason. And, so that's why Spock never talks about his sister. Oh boy, it's really stupid. But what do you expect, you know? So, and then you just have to kind of write between the lines for the script for them that all this time travel must have done something to create divergent timelines where somewhere the original timeline is out there and, but if you're taking it that all this manipulation by the Red Angel happened, it means Star Trek Discovery was the original timeline. Yeah. Yeah, the prime timeline. So even the original series, it's not prime. No. Michael Burnham's prime time was the prime. Was whatever. Was the real timeline. And for everything that came out from that. That Spock character you liked, he was nothing. Burnham made him. So, yeah, there you go. A show done by people who hate Star Trek. And, well, I guess if that was the mission, good job, you know. So, well, so there we go. Yeah, that car crash has now come to a close for now. Season 3 is supposedly going to happen. There's been some reports that there's trouble on the horizon there. There's trouble with the Picard series. I think it was supposed to already start production, and then there was a story about the licensees were upset with how it looked and everything. They want it to look closer so they can sell stuff because people wanted things to look like Star Trek. And if it doesn't look like Star Trek, they're not going to buy crap that doesn't look like Star Trek because they want Star Trek. So it seems to be a bit of a pause there. And Picard is the series that's supposed to save the whole damn thing. It was kind of a Hail Mary pass. I don't know how much money they had to pay Patrick Stewart for him to come back and do that. Had to be pretty considerable. But I don't know. Their best bet would be to put it on a broadcast network so that it could at least make some amount of money, because I think CBS All Access is done. And it was an uphill battle to begin with because we already know who the titans of the streaming wars are. It was over before it began with Amazon and Netflix. Those two are the titans, and not even Disney, I don't think, can topple it. So that's that. Yeah, all around a strange and bizarre enterprise, if you will. All right, so sad, but for now it's over until maybe they can do something else. But for now, I think they pretty much killed Star Trek for the foreseeable future. That's too bad. Well, thank you for watching and listening. Say, while you're here, why not like and subscribe? And if you didn't like the video, thanks anyway for watching. I appreciate that. But you know what I appreciate even more? People who've already subscribed. Oh, yeah, I do. It warms my heart. And while you're here, say, why not check out those link descriptions below? That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you.